That's fair. I should have seen where the train was going in your mind's palace in Jars Full of Cum.
Jars Full of Cum is just a meme reference that I've been thinking about, so that's why I keep bringing it up. And when we especially in wrestling, what wrestler, if you had... Oh, no. Okay.
Mm-hmm. No, this is fine. Yeah.
If one of your friends was like, yeah, I've been filling up jars full of this wrestler, what would you be like, okay, well, I mean, that makes sense. I'm not morbidly grossed out that, not that he's doing it, but that he told you, or she...
You know what? In the year of our Lord 2022, I don't think that act grosses me out as much as it is. As long as you have the separation of reality and your cum jar fantasy, if you understand that separation of reality and fantasy, come in as many jars as you want. To me, where it gets freaky, we have like the world kind of smaller with Twitter, especially with wrestling or like any sort of niche interest where they might have a few less followers. It's easier to reach out to them. Cum jarism is where it gets creepy to me.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm trying to think, if I was going to fill a jar full of cum for a wrestler, I mean, probably Shawn Michaels, because that was my first.
Okay. Your first cum jar was Shawn Mike?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a commemorative cum jar from McDonald's. You know how they used to have commemorative cups?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's that joke, but with cum jars now.
See, I was thinking... You could be like in your room and you're like, oh, Sean. And your parents would be like, oh, well, he's just like talking to himself. Weird Sean. But you're saying like the separation of reality and what you're currently doing, the reality in jar. We should say separation of church and state. No, separation of girth and weight. That's how you like find out how well a penis is actually doing. Because like no one's going to have the like weightiest penis and it just be like super girthy. So like if it's a hefty penis, it's either going to be like super long or like, oh, it's girth. That's what people want is girth.
Okay, so in your quest for the separation of girth and weight, you're looking for girth.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I'm looking for neither. I'm looking for both. It's people who have the separation of girth and weight, where it's like, well, who cares if you have a weighty dick? It could be a string bean, but it goes past your sole of the shoe.
Sure, that's physics. Ugh. So you're looking for the end of the separation of girth and weight.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for the end of reality and cum jars.
Okay. Wait, hold on. You're looking for the end. I was going to transition to the podcast, but I need to understand this. You're looking for the end of looking for the end of the separation?
Yes.
Of reality and cum jars?
Yes, I want people like when they're like, "Oh, I'm coming in this jar." All of a sudden, little Johnny Nitro, he goes like oh shoot. It's the name of, let me try and find a different, like a Thumbelina. All of a sudden, I get Indians in the cupboard. That like aren't they like toys that come to life, but they're like real people?
Yeah, kind of like Toy Story.
Well, but they're like flesh and blood and Indians in the cupboard.
Okay, so you are looking for a magical cupboard to turn the toys of which you now.
Where you store and also make magical, like, oh my God, I'm Johnny Nitro, and you're just like coming on him. And he's appreciative because that's how these little fuckers live. They're like the butterflies in Peacemaker, but instead of sucking up that amber shit, it's just like they got a long old tongue guzzling cum.
Yeah, okay, that's how they live. So... Are we cupboarding them before we fill them with jars of cum, or do you fill them with a jar of cum, then put that into the cupboard, and then they come out? They come out born of cum. Wait, how do you do both? Oh, you're doing like
pull
a
it
couple
out
of
from
each.
the cupboard. Yeah, like you're not like opening up the cupboard and getting on a step ladder and going, oh, because that's dangerous. You're when you come and you're standing up, your knees sometimes buckle, especially if you're working that pee state. Fucking deep state. I want a peace state. Yeah,
okay, wait, but you still haven't answered the question, sir.
What?
And I'm sorry. So are we bringing them to life before or after we come on them?
They're
You can't
alive.
answer both. You can't be. I'm sorry. You can't do that both.
Okay, you pull it out of the cupboard and they become flesh and blood, but tiny. Then you come on them and they eat it up real quick, and then you put them back in the jar, and then they become a toy again.
Okay, so they're toys unless they're being cummed on.
Or, unless they're out of the cupboard.
James, did we just solve misogyny?
I think we did.
I think we fixed misogyny. Go us. Hey, okay, now this is the podcast. James, I figured out what we are.
What's that?
First of all, welcome to the podcast, Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. There's no it in that. I'm Sean. I'm one of the hosts. With me is another host.
Hi, it's me, James, and we're going Doug. Proton Wrestling.
Temple, baby. We're breaking down Lucha Underground Episode 2, Season 1 today. Okay, so a quick tangent. James, you know how I'm like not funny, but I'm usually pretty prepared on these?
But you are funny. You just don't let the goofs go.
I hate them because, okay, you know how like WWE is not, it's not sports, it's not entertainment, it's sports entertainment?
Yeah.
So that way they don't have to be too athletic and they don't have to be too good at entertaining?
Yeah.
I think we're like journalism entertainment.
Or
we're
audio entertainment.
Well, no, I've heard audio entertainment. They're really good. Their production quality is amazing.
Doug.
Or at least I'll say I'm journalism entertainment, where like I look up a bunch of stuff, but not so much that I have any credit or credibility. And then I'm kind of funny, but not so much that they're going to swoop me up to New York City, put me on that SNL, and make me do a little dance with Bill Hader. And then you're going to be like, oh, no, but then you get swooped up to SNL and you get to do a little dance with Bill Hader. But by then I'm over on Mad TV and I'm eating Artie Lang's cum in a little jar.
No, I don't want that for me or you. What I want
I don't
is...
want that either. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, also, no one work at SNL. The schedule sucks. Why is that happening? Kind of like when Vince McMahon was outed of WWE. The day Lorne Michaels is kaputs from that presentation shit, the work hours will be manageable. I guarantee that.
Yeah.
They're all union, aren't they? That can't be a non-union production.
I gotta imagine they're union, but I also gotta imagine Lauren is rich and laws don't apply to rich people if they're sneaky.
Strike. SNL strike, guys.
I mean, the thing is about the morale, it's kind of the same way with Vince, though, where it's a little culty. Everyone who walks in. I woke up to a Patrice O'Neal interview talking about his 2 days writing for the WWE. And it's just very, culty is kind of a fair word for it, where you see the genius of one person, the dangers of authorship, where oh, this one person has it all figured out. They're so deeply ingrained that like even the backwards ideas that they cultivated, even backwards is harsh. Just the old school ideals that don't work anymore are so protected by their umbrella of genius that the new better ideas don't get through.
I also think it is because there's no alternative, at least current, like WWE still number one, still on top, and AEW is so new that it technically could, especially now with, the Warner Discovery, all of that stuff merging. They're on TNT, right?
Yes, they are. They're on TNT and TBS.
Yes, so...
They're very Turner.
That could fall apart at any moment, just like SNL. There's no real alternative to SNL at that height. So let's get some goddamn late night. Don't try to go up against them. Go up against them. Don't do like a party down, party over here. Whatever that Nicole Byer, Allison Rich, Jess McKenna collaboration with the Lonely Island and Paul Scheer TV show. It was fucking great. You guys should seek it out.
I should seek that out. I don't think I remember that at all. That sounds very good.
It was probably like 2015. It is fucking awesome. And it only got one season because they wanted to go like up against, as a sketch show, SNL. But because they were like, oh, well, I guess we have to respect Lorne because he doesn't want us to do that. Because it's Lonely Island, they were like delegated to a like 10 p.m. slot on Friday night.
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Speaking as a Rampage viewer, AEW Rampage, their second show is like 9 Central Friday night. And it's always like, it's a good show. I'm glad I don't have a life for me to go out on Friday and miss it. I'm in front of my TV with my popcorn and my little pennant.
Not your TV in front of your computer screen.
Don't let them know. The listeners can't know. I'm a relatable everyman. I've got a TV, I've got a dog, and I've got a brewski. Let's watch some football, baby. Ooh. Everyman goose. That's me, baby.
I put that on everyman sriracha. If you see a man walking on the street, spritz some sriracha on them, not in the eyes.
Let him know you think he's a spicy little meatball that you want to swish around in your mouth.
No, he needs a little bit of spice. Sriracha him up.
James, and we're going to get to your first segment and we'll start the podcast popper soon. But I do have to ask, if you were to be basically cupboarded toy by any I'm going to say any cast member of Mad TV or SNL. So you get your choice. Who do you want to be in a little jar waiting for them to pull you out? Who's pulling you out?
McCollum.
Whose hand is that? Ooh. Colin Mockery?
No, McCollum.
Oh, McCollum. Ooh, that's a good choice. I forget how good McCollum is sometimes.
Or fudge. Why am I forgetting her name? Hold on. She's Benson's mom. That one kid's mom on iCarly.
Isn't that McCollum?
No, not Mo Collins. Come on, man. She is
that?
I believe the only woman ever with this credit of all female voices on a TV show, because on MXC, she is every single female voice.
Yeah. I thought that was Mo Collins.
No,
Okay,
Mo Collins.
Come
on, man. I'm going to scream it out once I see her name. Mary Scheer.
Mary Scheer, thank you. Oh, my God. Yeah, Mary Scheer, absolute.
I guess like no one from SNL, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I went with Artie Lang.
He was on Oh, no, he was on Mad TV.
He's on Mad TV, baby. Yeah, I don't know. Ropes have come. Welcome to the podcast.
I truly thought you were going to like rope that around, to a wrestling question, not like you should have said like, hey, if you want any wrestler.
All right, well then, what I'm trying to do is get all of our cum jar out early in the season, so that way we're all cum jarred out by the end, and we can just talk about wrestling.
Get your cum jars here, get them out, get them now.
All right, well, but you did ask. Wait, I already answered. Shawn Michaels is my cum jar answer.
Also, cum jars are in season right now because
always in season.
Because like,
you know why they're in season?
What's up?
You know why? Because it's fucking jars everywhere. You know why it's this season? Because the sun goes up when the moon goes down. Fuck, if you've got jars, you've got James, which wrestler do you want to be in a cum jar for? And then we're going to get to the podcast.
Well, to loop it into the podcast, I forget her name, but then this woman in the tag team match today, I was like, I might need to pause this. Radiant.
Sexy star lives up to the name. Wait, woman in the tag match? Oh, Evilise.
Yes, there we go.
Evilise is fucking dope. I like Evilise.
I was like, this is... she's practically wearing a thong on stage, but like modestly. It's not ECW, that type of trash.
Yeah, there are levels to thongism, and we just want to see the best thongs for our workers. What are you talking about, ECW trash? You hater.
Yeah, guys. I'm keep riding this. ECW, hey, it might have had great wrestling, but the production quality, 2 thumbs down, practically makes it unwatchable.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That I don't disagree with. But, all right, so we've talked for a while. This is going pretty well. I like this.
Guys, okay, a little bit behind the scenes. Sean technically, where shuffling the deck was me introducing Sean to something, that made me like the number 1 co-host, and then like number 1 on the call sheet for the podcast would be James. But now, Sean being the expert in wrestling, he's number 1 on the call sheet to now have to guide the podcast.
And I thought I could do it while simultaneously Googling Evilise, and it was too much for my tiny sweet boy brain. It was just too much for me.
It needs
Also,
more
no-
lumps like Johnny Nitro's abs.
Dude, he's got such good abs.
That's a callback from last week.
Before we get into the underground artist of the week, how have you been? What's the haps? How are your current events?
I've been a ball of stress this week just because I'm like,
baby.
I need work. So if you guys need a podcast edited, a podcast produced, songs edited, all of that stuff, hit me up.
Maybe a sweet little boy to stand in your jar on the cupboard.
Or go
Looking
to Patreon.
at you, Mo. I'm just shouting out Mo Collins.
Or go to patreon.com/MLM pod. That's the best way to support us.
That's a call of action specifically for Mo Collins.
And oh my God, for real, guys, that Vampiro Warrior of the Night movie, Nicole is also down to watch this for straight to Patreon in September. We watched the trailer for it. It looks just like not a fever dream, but like a hallucinogenic dream.
I'm excited. I got the chills. They are multiplying. I might be losing control.
Oh, grease
For the
lightning.
That Vampiro is supplying is vampirifying. Vampiro's a fucking menace.
How have you been, Sean?
I've been all right. I tore apart my Xbox Series controller, which felt to fix like my left bumper.
Okay.
Just totally snapped off. I didn't. Nah, I'm not. Listen, I'm not that guy. I do it for function, not for fun. As you've listened to this podcast, nothing I do is for fun. This is a serious journalism entertainment production. So I fixed the bumper, but now the batteries won't work. So, you fix something, you break something else, life rolls on, baby. Steely Dan, play it one more time.
Sean, I probably should, well, I was going to say I probably should have messaged you on Discord about this, but you wouldn't have gotten back to me.
No.
What? No. How is it easy to get into background acting?
Yeah.
If I wanted to do it just like one day a week, is that possible?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. How much? I'll bleep this out. How much do you make per day?
Not a lot.
But I mean, a lot to you is probably much different to me.
That's fair. You can make probably, depends on the hours, like $100 a day.
Holy shit, that's all I would, once a week that I'm set with my other incomes. That's enough for me to live.
Yeah, then I don't know, then do it. It's real easy.
Hell yeah.
My job is not hard. Everyone should do what I do.
On Grift Horse with Megan Beth Keister and Howard Kramer, for a while, they were like, guys, we're SAG. We should start background acting just here and there. That's a grift in itself because we get paid even more. And we get screeners. So then a lot of people in the Discord were like, yeah, I'm going to start background acting. So if you have a film production city near you or you live in one, go for it.
And if you're not in Vancouver, why not hang out in Vancouver? It seems nice. James, who's the underground artist of the week?
Okay, so I was like, James, don't just do another Detroit-based hip-hop artist. You branch out, do something else.
It's a huge world. It's so exciting. There's so many different voices. I can't wait to hear what different voice you brought to us this week. James, go.
Not self-appointed, but like he had this title, the mayor of Detroit himself,
hold on now.
Proof from D12.
Proof is great, though. Proof is when I feel like it's easy to forget how good Proof was.
He's the best. But today we're not going to talk about I Miss the Hip Hop Shop, which I believe was his first solo studio album that came out in 2004, I think, which the first actual song on that it's track to is a diss to Esham. And it's very good because it's not just like, oh, you have sex with men. It is like bringing up.
It's 2004, baby.
Yeah, it's him legitimately bringing up. He's like, dude, you used to be number one and on top in Detroit and in this underground independent scene. But once like Death Row, No Limit, all those dudes came around, you were left in the dust and like appreciate what you had, but you're no longer that. So like, quit dissing us. I'm done with this. Fuck you. And it's just like a very concise, like, hey man, you fell off, deal with it, bye. And it's so good.
And Isham was poking. Like that was, that's kind of, I guess that's the big thing I gathered from it. Isham was just kind of poking around to see who bit. And Proof was like, yo, man, we got to save our teeth for the meaty meats. I can't.
Yeah, pretty much. And the Isham D12 stuff like went back far because of both of them with Nodis and D12 getting kicked off the Vans Warped Tour, which we talked about a while ago on Shuffling the Deck. But yeah, there was some animosity there, and it might still be, I'm not sure. But today we're talking about possibly one of the greatest Detroit hip-hop albums in the entire time history. It is Searching for Jerry Garcia. It was his second studio album, and it was released August 9th, 2005. Now, Sean, I've already told you the now in retrospect, very sad story of me listening to this while swinging alone as a teenager on my birthday. But one thing, focusing on, I see the date and the fact that my parents got this for me for a birthday. Back then, it wasn't until 2006, but prior to that, I was not allowed to listen to parental advisory music at all.
Ooh.
So
I like this. I like where this is going.
Maybe at the time, I was able to skirt some stuff, like MC Chris, bless him, for never putting a parental advisory sticker on any of his stuff, because I think at the time he's like, well, I'm just going to be mailing these out. No store is ever going to hold this. So I was able to get his music because my dad looked at it. I said, yeah, it's not parental advisory. He's like, okay, it's very disgusting and dirty, guys.
Tricky MC Chris.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until the Insane Clown Posse that my parents were like, oh, yeah, go for it. It was, I think, also my stepmom kind of softening my dad up to like, this music isn't harmful. Then some of this stuff, they were like, hey, you can listen to it in headphones, but do not listen. Like Brother Lynch Hung, they were like, do not listen to this out loud. Put headphones on.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they purchased this for me in 2005. It used to be nothing but edited music that I would have to listen to, which I can appreciate now as an adult, because some of those albums that I listened to hundreds of times, like Obi Trice's Cheers or D12 World by D12, of course, I can now go back and listen to with a new ear because I'm like, oh, these are completely different songs. It's not like when they say pussy, all of a sudden you hear a meow.
No, they're like actively changing the track. They're changing their vision to fly under, as opposed to like just like adding and like plopping their vision.
I think I did this for an MC or a Mostly Speaking Sentai intro, but there's an Obi Trice song that in the edited version, all it is like he's talking about like guns so much that most of it is just like he says like two words, then a so listening to the unedited version later in life, I'm like, holy shit, he's rapping real well. Like, listen to these rhymes.
I didn't know this song had words. Wowzers.
But this album is fantastic. Proof had a way of rapping these intricate rhyme schemes without sounding forced or overwritten. They just like came out of him. It's great. There is a mixtapey feel to this, or like a compilation vibe, because the songs don't seem to have a through line besides like a handful of songs that deal with untimely death, which kind of prophesizes his own death in 2006, which I cried. When he died and when MCA died are the only two celebrities that I'm like, wow, this fucking sucks.
Wow. I didn't realize. I thought it was later. I didn't realize it was 2006.
Oh, yeah, it was 2006. But this album's great. It features a lot of Detroit rappers like the aforementioned Obi Trice, Slum Village alums, MC Breed, who was on Psychopathic or like their offshoot label, King Gordy, who Psychopathic wanted, and D12, who are on the only bad song on the album called Pimp Likeness, because every single rap album in the early to mid 2000s needed for some reason a song about being a pimp. But Sean, it has stuff for you as well, because there's a weed smoking song with Method Man of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Those are two things I'm interested in.
And Be Real is on that song as well. 50 Cent from Cypress Hill.
Okay. Oh, I thought this song was called Be Real. I'm like, do I know this song, Be Real?
No.
Okay,
It's
cool.
called something about weed.
That's a good name for a song, though. Now, Cypress Hill, do they smoke marijuana? Do you believe?
I believe they do. And before,
Interesting.
I thought they sounded cool, but I never got into them. But one day when I was high, I was like, I want to listen to some like weed smoking songs. So I put on Black Friday, and I was like, oh, I get Cypress Hill now.
Cool. I like this was your first this was your first parental advisory album.
That I got from parents, and I think Ready to Die would have been on there too.
Did that? Because I remember my first public advisory album, I think, was George Carlin Class Clown, which was the 7 words you can't say on television. That classic 70s bit of humor.
I technically, from a yard sale, my parents let me get Adam Sandler's They're All Going to Laugh at You. So fucking good. And they were like, all right, we'll listen to it. And they're like, oh, yeah, you can't listen to this.
Oh,
but
no.
When they would leave, I would just like sneak and listen to it and have a fucking blast.
Yeah. I remember, because it was 8th grade. I had one of those like kindergarten through 8th grade parochial schools. So like leaving 8th grade was a big deal.
Yeah.
And it was like after one of those like 8th grade sort of events, it was on my bed when I got home. And I felt like such an adult when I saw it. It was like, oh, I'm gonna do taxes soon. This is exciting. And I wanted to ask, like, if it was similar, but you were sneaking MC Chris and at the Sandman behind your parent. You were kind of a rebel rouser.
I remember one time, I think I said this on this show, but I was listening to Devil's Night by D12. My friends would supply me with unedited CDs that I would burn and then just hide. So I was listening, thinking, oh, they're in headphones, I'm good. And then my dad like motions to take headphones off, and he's like, hey, is that unedited? And I was like, no, it's edited. Then I just turned it down real low and put them back on. He knew what I was up to. There was once where, because like once you turn 13, 14, you can buy stuff. I bought Tupac's Better Days, and I brought it home, and my dad found out, and he was like, what? I can't believe they sold this to you, and like read off like the whitest man in the world song titles. And the one I remember is like, never call you bitch again. I can't believe you bought this smut, not realizing the irony in that, which is an apologetic song to a loved one of his of like, hey, I fucked up. I am learning from my mistakes, and I will never call like it's an aftermath. It is I learned from this mistake, but oh man, it's ingrained in my head of never call you bitch again. Like when Nicole worked at Reckless Records, and her coworkers, I believe, like laughed at her about this. Someone called to like find out if they had an album, and she said, oh yeah, which let me see what Snoop Dogg albums we have. Okay, we have The Game Is to Be Sold, Not to Be Told. Something like that. Like she said
that
it like
album does not have a question mark at the end of it, ma'am.
But in Nicole's defense, she had to like say it clearly because she's on the phone with someone, but just out of nowhere, someone's saying a Snoop Dogg album in like as phonetic as possible. Very funny. But
I was just gonna say, no, it's not as clean as your Hank Hill of a father reading off. Where's this now? Never call you bitch again. What the hell? It's like I wish TikTok was around so you could make your dad angry dad style famous. Because jeezums, that tickles my fancies.
My dad doesn't talk like Hank Hill. My brother's father-in-law does talk exactly like Hank Hill, though.
I just pulled a reference. You're in Michigan. That's so far away from Hank Hill land. Rural America blows my mind every time. I love you. Never changed, except for the parts where you absolutely need to change.
Yeah, like rural Michigan. But let me get into some of these song recommendations. Then we getting on to the goddamn name of the show.
Babies.
Baboa's theme Forgive Me, which features 50 Cent on the hook, No T Lose with King Gordy, 72nd and Central featuring Jay Hill and Obi Trice, and the final track, Kurt Cobain, that serves as his last will and testament in the form of an audio suicide letter.
Damn. That sounds amazing.
It's
Jesus.
so good.
Yeah.
Because
Was it Kurt Cobain?
Yeah, Kurt Cobain, because he's apologizing to people who he's friends with for like, hey, I did this wrong, or like, hey, I'm proud of you for doing this stuff. It's so good.
All the things she said, why is all the things she said so hard for me to pronounce? Sometimes it's all the things they said running through your head right before you blow your... edit all of this out. Everything about that sentence was a catastrophe. That's some great recommendations, James. I love them. That
Henry.
was so good.
Next week,
Babies.
I promise it won't be... I was going to probably do like Frasier Boys, Me Being Me, but I was like, no. I'm in a proof mood right now.
Nah, we can save tossed salad and scrambled eggs for next week.
Yeah.
But this week, we got to get into this. We got to get into the temple.
Yeah.
We got to get our tickets out. Season 1, Episode 2, Los Demonios. We open up. We're in the temple. We're in the ring. We got those 3 villains from last week. Heck, we don't even know their names. Why have you done and who are you?
Hey, there's only one thing you need to remember. Cisco.
It's a very interesting introduction for all 3 guys.
Mm-hmm. And the issues of the last episode completely solved in the second one. The crowd is full of clearly wrestling fans. They know the chants. They know when to like get real hype. They know to chant Eddie when Eddie needs to be chanted. I feel kind of bad for people in those situations who constantly have to be reminded of dead loved ones.
Yeah, but it's also... I think there's some pride in there. We'll get to there when we get to that moment. But I feel like it's more pride where it's like I'm constantly reminded of how much I loved someone though. Mm-hmm. So it's this weird, whatever that Vision quote is. Hey, I'm Vision. I'm gonna fuck you with my robo dick. That one.
Oh, hell yeah. And then WandaVision's like, oh, you fucked me so hard I created a second reality.
Well, I never, except for in the last reality. Ooh, there are so many versions of me, I don't know who to keep up with.
Oh, actually, I guess I should say, Thanos finger fucked you so hard I created a second reality.
The Big Bang Theory is true.
The Big Finger Bang Theory in that case.
Yeah, no, that was the joke. Thank you, James. You're so proud of yourself, and I'm so proud of you for us all. At the temple, the 3 men are in the ring is Cortez Castro, Cisco, and me. I'm the boss. Shut up. My name is Big Rick. Mm-hmm. Which, like, they're villains. Also, it was interesting how, like, they don't open with that. The first thing Castro says is that he wants to beat you up and take your money. My name is Castro. And actually, now breaking that down, I do like that. I like that it went in, what do I do? And because he's not he wasn't a televised name. This is an introduction of Castro to the wrestling world. So for him to kind of like, what do I do? Okay, cool. And now here's my name. I can kind of tie that easier. So it was a criticism that as I read out loud, I actually liked. And then Cisco's just like, yeah, and I'm Cisco.
I could have swore it was Cisco first because it was so abrupt. Or maybe it was so abrupt that I thought it was the first thing ever said in this episode, which was, hey, all you need to remember is one thing, Cisco. And it's like, is that you, sir, or is this the group? What's going on?
No, Cisco went second, which is awesome because like Cortez Castro lays it out perfectly. This is what I want. This is what I do. I beat you up and take your money. And my name is Castro. Then Cisco comes and he says, forget everything else about that. You don't need to know. All you need is Cisco. I think he meant to say Crisco. I think he's selling us Crisco. I think he's a Crisco door-to-door salesman. And you know what? Awesome. Not enough Crisco being used today.
Well, technically, he's a temple-to-temple salesman.
This is true. But let's talk about Big Rick. I'm the boss. Shut up. My name is Big Rick. Did you believe that he was the boss?
No.
Why is that?
Because he's getting paid by the actual boss. Like he's here. Like maybe he's the leader of this trio of misfits, but I wouldn't call him the boss.
I had the exact same thing. We just saw your actual boss. You can't be the boss if your boss is if there's a boss higher than you, you're not the boss. You can be a boss. You could say, "Hey, I'm a boss," but you're not the boss. Articles matter.
Also, the continuity of this episode, starting out as abrupt as it did, made me feel like this was the same exact night as our previous match. But they say, like, when he's smoking the cigar, Big Rick, I guess they all got that $1,000, but I guess Rick got more than the others. Mm-hmm. And he's already spent it.
It's guaranteed that yes and yes. That's kind of how, like, a lot, because this is a studio show. They're probably filmed, I would guess maybe 5. They film a lot. They would have filmed a lot of episodes all in one day.
I'll push back slightly on that. Yes, if this were a game show where it was new contestants each week, I think maybe 3, because if...
maybe 3, yeah.
So far, everyone from the first episode is on the second episode wrestling, and if they're also on I guess they're only like at most 14-minute matches. Yeah, you take a break for an hour and then you're ready to go. No, you want to know what? Yeah, probably 4 to 5.
Yeah, so the studio's in effect. That cigar always struck me as odd. I don't know why. Like it's almost like this is my character, cigar. Also, Big Rick sort of alludes to knowing Johnny Mundo. Big Rick is also known as Ezekiel Jackson from Florida Championship Wrestling, the pre-NXT for WWE, their sort of feeder school. Then was Brian Kendrick's bodyguard on SmackDown. Then all of our favorite brand of ECW, WWE ECW.
I think that's how I know him.
And then... everyone does. Everyone watched that. Do you remember the zombie? They had a zombie.
I think, wasn't he a part of the 6-person in Evening to Dismember or whatever, December to Dismember?
I swear to God, I'd buy it. I have no idea, but I would not be shocked.
My
old face would be at rest. So as Ezekiel Jackson, Big Rick is sort of like, "Hey, I'm Johnny Mundo. I know you, but now you know what I am, who I am, how I am." Something like that. Johnny Mundo runs in. Big Rick takes off. Beats up 2 men by himself. Johnny Mundo, no chair, no lead pipe. Just the heart of a warrior and some of the coolest ding-dang flips he ever done seen. So Castro and Cisco take off. They powder out of the ring. They grab chairs. They're getting ready to kind of jump back in. When, well, who's that coming to the aid of Johnny Mundo? It's Prince Puma. Being as fucking amazing as ever. At which point, Cueto comes out of his office, which again is right next to the ring, and again is so cool. I love that. And Cueto makes the match. He says, "Well, if you guys gonna tear each other apart, we might as well make it official. Sanctions a tag match. We got it immediately. Castro and Cisco versus Puma and Mundo."
Who?
Did you find it?
I must just know him from normal WWE or watching shit, or from my friend Cord just screaming his name all the time.
That's awesome, because I didn't know anyone who was like a big Ezekiel Jackson guy. It's not even his fault. Like he never got a huge program. But I'm glad you knew someone who was like, "No, that's my fucking Big Rick, the man with the cigar." Hell, I'm so sick of going to Bob Evans and not being able to just light up a big old stogie. This is my vessel.
I don't know if it's like, hey, that's my guy. My friends in that group would hyperfixate on someone's name and just say it all the time. Like Montel Vontavious Porter.
Hell yeah, MVP, baby.
They would say his name all the time. So
Ezekiel Jackson is a great name.
Yes, it rolls off the tongue. So that might be the reason why he is forefront of my mind with that name, not Big Rick.
The boss. You mean to say the boss. Please don't look slightly to the right where the other boss is literally right. I would have loved that actually if when he goes, "I'm the boss," if Cueto just pokes his head out and goes, Well, I'm a boss. I'm a sub boss. I'd be like right before you fight Shredder. That's me.
I'm a mini boss.
I don't call myself. No, I'm not a mini boss. I'm a sub boss. It's different.
Okay.
Thank you. We go to this tag match. Great tag match. I'll say off the bat.
Oh,
Very exciting. Yeah. But Puma and Mundo are insane right now. Like 2014 is a very good year for both of these guys. We started. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at the spots I have, and I'm just like every time I look up at it, I'm just like, how does Prince Puma move the way Prince Puma moves?
I thought, what the fuck is up with their like programming? Whoever is like saying this match goes first, this match goes second, this match goes third is off base so hard, because this match, I was like, how are they going to outdo this on this episode? Luckily, I think the second one was awesome. And then the third one, it wasn't a spectacular match, but the story it told was like, oh, fuck yeah, this is where it's going.
I'm so glad you hit on that, because absolutely. I was going to say this for the end. Let's talk about this now. Because I was thinking about how they booked the pilot, that first episode. Mm-hmm. And if you don't remember, it was Damon and Chavo in the first match that really, like, barely a minute, Havoc and Sexy Star, and then it closed with Puma and Mundo. Because I was thinking about like on the stand-up thing where, like, I really do think it is first joke, best joke. And it's not all across the board, but I've always liked the idea that the perfect joke is the perfect sort of one line in which you get everything about me. My first impression in like a single line, right? And I think if last week started with Puma and Mundo and then closed with Chavo and Damon, hear me out. Mundo is a big name. Puma's not. Actually, technically, Ricochet is a big name in the indies. Puma has never wrestled before in his life. Mm-hmm. This is Prince Puma's first match. That is designed to be, and it's a studio audience, so they're easier to like stay hyped, but it might be a little bit harder to get them to hyped.
Would you want to warm up for Lucha Underground?
Would I want to like, no, wrestlers should warm up for Lucha Underground. Stop trying to get me into stand up. I hate it.
This is in a studio setting. Shouldn't there's
it
some
be
breakdown.
A comic. Yeah, it should probably be like, I don't know, not Mad Striker. Shit, not Vampiro. I don't know who does warm up, but someone more in the wrestling. Conan comes out.
I guess
Conan should do warm up.
Colt Cabana with some comedy wrestling.
I mean, you could do a lot of wrestling. I mean, if you're gonna do wrestlers, you want to do younger guys, like basically like a young version of Puma and a young version of Mundo.
Okay, to cut their teeth.
Yeah, but like that's why I'm thinking if we switch the order, so the first match, because also is probably the match that most people are going to see. People I'll tune in, I'll check it out. If you see Mundo and Puma opening up the show, you're probably not changing the channel. Mm-hmm. Like that's an insane match, and then you can kind of like close out with Damon and Chavo. A little, I mean, maybe they might not feel as rushed, which is where maybe a lot of times botches kind of happen and, missteps happen. They can rely. Chavo is Chavo is still a huge draw.
Yeah.
Chavo's been on TV for years. And Damon Jr., he's a little more niche, but the dude was the first Mexican NWA champion. That's a big deal. So saving that for the main event, and that way, and it's like, can they follow Puma and Mundo? Absolutely not. Nobody can. It's weird. We're building the TV audience, and we're grasping them first. They're going back and be like, yeah, that Chavo and Blue Demon was pretty cool. God, do you remember Mundo and Puma? I'm curious. I wonder if that would have been a better show.
Also, if you were to watch these back to back, I think the programming makes perfect sense because it is like this crescendo. In the beginning, Chavo is just destroyed in this match. You see he's distraught. You love him sweaty in the backstage.
I do love him sweaty in the backstage.
At the end, you see of this like two-parter, you see how that ends. Like it crescendos into this catastrophic upset. And I think now I take back the programming stuff. I think maybe they're telling a serial opposed to an episodic adventure. This you need to watch every single episode to feel the story develop.
It helps. I'll say you don't super need to. They do a pretty good job of explaining what's going on, but it helps because this is not a Sentai. This is a Gilmore Girls.
Okay, so in that sense, like Gilmore Girls, you should watch the previous, but Sentai, you can dip in and out as long as it's not the final episodes.
Yeah, and the thing, and you like at some point you might go back and finally like sit and watch every one, but it was also easy enough. When it was on TV, I would miss some weeks, and then I would come back, and I would still be like, yeah, I'm still in.
He's currently talking about Gilmore Girls, not Super Sentai.
Yes, excuse me. When I watched Gilmore Girls, I would never watch Super Sentai.
I would sit down from episode 1, and I would wait 20 times 50 for how long that sit down would be, 9 hours or something, and that's how you experience Super Sentai.
Absolutely. And how do you experience the tag team style of Castro and Cisco the first time we're seeing these men wrestle? Well, Matt Stryker, who interviewed Castro about it, says, "Yo, I call it prison shower style, Holmes." And then I just walked away. Matt Stryker says this to absolute silence. Vampiro gives him nothing. It's just Matt Stryker quietly doing the Homer Simpson hedge style lurk, and then Vampiro just going, "Yeah, that's cool." We talk about white guys saying white guy things. Matt Stryker is saying, "Yo, call it prison shower style, Holmes," is very white guy speaking.
He also puts on an accent, so I was like, "Oh boy, get out of here!"
Yeah, it's not great.
I do. So they're like, "Oh, he respects his fighting style. He respects him in the ring. You can tell that." On BattleBots, I'm assuming it is a wrestling, boxing, MMA stuff because one of the Kyle Florian, I believe is his name, or Kenny Florian, Kenny, the other in one season kept saying his name like Eric Cartman says Kenny's name, and I was like, "What? Who's allowing him to do that?" And clearly someone said quit it because he has never said it after that season.
Aw, I was just trying to be rememberable. Shoot.
They say about like each other's like the robots' weapons. He'll say like, "Oh, which doctor really respects Tombstone's weapon?" And I'm like, stop saying this in nearly every single match, guys.
Yeah, I guess in terms of combat sports,
is.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Like if someone says like that is something I kind of took for granted. But yeah, if you ever hear someone say he respects his left hook or his tornado spin wheel, it means they understand it. They probably game planned around it.
Yeah.
Like another big one is scouted. He scouted his left hook or his spinning cyclone laser jab.
I understand. It's just when it goes into a robot, that's what I'm like, you guys can't take it that seriously. It is a robot. But you know
what? Absolutely you do. Because
that is a combat sport.
And the big thing with like the difference between BattleBots and most boxers have a left hand. I don't mean they like throw, I mean just they physically possess that ligament. Not every robot has the same parts. In fact, that's one of the, so like when you design your robot, you probably will make meta decisions of like, okay, I know there's a couple of low to the ground boys who are trying to flip me, so maybe I'll design this, that, and the other. I will respect their flips.
Some people do that on the fly.
For true. And they are pretty fly when they do it.
Yeah, of like, hey, I know I'm going up against so-and-so. I need a specific thing mounted to my bot now to help me combat that strategy.
Well, I'll tell you this for free. Castro and Cisco did not respect the corkscrew diving moonsault, tope moonsault from Puma as he levels one of the men on the outside. Johnny Puma's setting up for his move. They pull out. It doesn't happen. There's a lot of false finishes towards the end. I almost thought too many, but this is kind of why I like it in the opening match slot, because two of the guys are totally unknown, but everyone in there can work. And it's weird. Like when you think real show busy and circusy, draw power and like star power becomes a factor in like booking the show. Because even if you're like, man, everybody, you guys have the best match sometimes, but this is a guy who can work, but is a huge name. Assuming he's not also an absolute D-bagger, yeah, you kind of do want to save that for the main event slot.
Yeah.
But this was so beautiful. It's like all these false finishes. Puma and Mundo have scouted the Psycho Realm, which is the big rig. That was the finishing move they did on them last week. And I love that. It's a little bit of storytelling. Like, you hit us with this last week, but we saw it. Now we know how to counter it, which they do into stereo 450 splashes. That is 450 degrees of rotation in the air from two men at the same time.
So fucking cool. Like,
Yo.
I was cheering for this. I was like, yeah.
It was very exciting. There is nothing more satisfying than two high flyers hitting stereo high flying moves.
You want to know what's funnier? I cheered for that, but I did not cheer for that as loud as I cheered for today watching Jellystone, the Yogi Bear spinoff that's on HBO Max right now.
Sure. It's the best wrestling on TV, Jellystone. I've always said.
Why isn't it? No, I don't want to franchise a Jellystone park.
Do it, you coward. Accept capitalism into your heart.
We were watching that, and they keep showing the Yogi's Laugh arc. It was like from one of the shows, and I was like, oh man, I so badly want to see them reference the show that came from, which was, what was it called? Yogi and Friends, maybe? No, Yogi's Gang, which started with Yogi's Laugh arc. And it's baffling when we do it on. I'll bleep that out. It's the show R2 Shelby 2 and I are doing. Each episode is like, if this were out today, Republicans would be like, go woke, go broke, because it truly is every single episode. They go up against a villain like these. You have Dr. Bigot, who has a bigotry raise to zap people to.
Yes, whoa! That you came out swinging, and I wasn't prepared.
You have the greedy genie, Mr. Prankster, the gossipy witch, Mr. Sloppy. What was the?
All of those sound like children villains. Mr. Bigot is a step up.
Oh yeah, that's the first episode too. So I was like, I have to watch this. You also
you follow Mr. Bigot with Sloppy Genie or whatever? Like, you can't.
Mr. Smog was really cool because all he did was like pollute people. You have a lot of litter. Like, it was just like, in today's world, people would call it PC bullshit.
But you also go back a lot of those, except for Mr. Bigot, who, again, is doing something special.
Yeah.
The rest just sound like Captain Planet villains.
Yeah. Totally. And this is pre-Captain Planet. So. There's an episode where.
Captain Planet's a coward for not inviting Mr. Bigot to get his ass kicked. I'll say it.
There's an episode where three of the kid characters, Augie Doggy and some other two that I forget their names right now, they need to get a patch for like the pseudo Boy Scouts that's in this Jellystone, and they're delivering mail and they have to do it on the Laugh arc, and then pirates come aboard and the main pirate introduces them, and it's like, ooh, and here's Dr. Smog, and I was like, a lot of litter, and I jumped up just cheering, going, yahoo, they did it, and Nicole's like, the fuck are you doing? What is wrong? And I was like, this is from Yogi's Gang.
You'll love to see that long-term storytelling come into effect.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, no, there is something special about paying off ends. Like, even the little... I love when Johnny cut off that Big Rick and him knew each other. Because it was probably like... They can't say anything about WWE without being sued.
Yeah.
But, like, it's true. You guys did know each other. And anytime something like that happens, where they call back Dr. Smog and Kitty Litter...
A lot of litter.
Thank you. What's the word? What's a positive compliment? I couldn't think of the word compliment. That's how low my self-esteem is right now. It complements the viewer's intelligence, and that's such a nice. Everybody loves to be complimented, but like complimenting intelligence, it's not easy to do. And so when that happens, it just feels special. I like that.
Speaking of compliments, we were talking about you on Engaged with Nicolas Cage last week.
Thank you.
We were trying to decide because
I'm
I was like,
it's a nice thing.
I was like, Nicole, I think you'd be a pretty terrible wingman. And she's like, no, I could. And I was like, who could we? Oh my God, we should wingman try and find Sean Love.
What sitcom have I stumbled my way into? We cut to the back for a Conan, another Conan Puma segment. It's essentially, I feel like this is the outtake of the introduction to Puma from last week, because it's the same idea as who is Prince Puma, which honestly is very obvious. They're strapping the rocket. Have you heard that expression?
I have not.
Strapping the rocket means they're trying very hard to make a name out of someone who wasn't previously famous. They're going to strap a rocket to them and push them up the card. A great example is Brock Lesnar. When he first debuted, he beat everyone. And then he was the youngest world champion. Anytime you hear the youngest world champion, they probably had the rocket strapped to them. In that they were very much pushed by management. Mm-hmm. But like Prince Puma, because again, Ricochet at this point has become an indie, like a real indie darling. I believe these were after his Bola, his Pro Wrestling Guerrilla Battle of Los Angeles debuts. He's been hitting Japan at this point. He's been working I think he might have hit ROH. I can't be sure, but he is if you've never seen Prince Puma or you're not familiar with Ricochet, like if you're an old WWE head and you like some of that like cruiserweight style, that really fast, smooth kind of high flying, because there's two types of high flying. There is the Hardy Boys style, which is I'm going to jump off something real big and it's going to go boom. And then there's the Lucha Libre defined, where it is a lot more intricate steps and patterns.
So cool.
And it's very smooth and it's so cool. And like Ricochet is one of those guys. I like it because they use it now in WWE, but it gets mentioned in this match. He moves like a video game. He looks like a video game, which is like, yeah, he's got that superpower, baby.
Sean, my next note was, Sean, you're a human video game.
I love it. They still use that. They use that to this day when I'm talking about him. Like, I was watching Raw the other night, and it was like, yeah, the human video game Ricochet. I'm like, but true? Like, here's the thing, but true?
Sean, you're like the Sims character. The one that you're like, oh, shoot.
Why would you?
I really need to pay attention to this one right now.
I can't. Why would you do that to me now? I was on a high.
I'm so sorry.
Remembering in my mind's eye this beautiful tag match, and now I'm compared to a sim who has shat himself.
No, just
and is falling asleep on his feet, refusing to get a job, which is accurate but hurtful.
I've also only played The Sims once, and I was like, it gave me anxiety because I didn't know what to do.
Oh. Well, don't worry. I'll walk you through this Sims episode of A Sweaty Time in Pro Wrestling. The one piece of new info. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to. Oh, you're still going on the Prince Puma stuff. I wanted to describe what the story was in these matches.
Okay. The one piece of new information I was gonna say in the Conan segment was the stay away from Johnny Mundo. Conan kind of puts up this ultimatum. What is it? You've got one friend, and you're looking at him. And then Conan points to himself. He is Prince Puma's only friend. And we get a little bit, like, it's hard to, honestly, and the fact that Ricochet is physicalizing it so well under a mask for a guy who was not wrestling under a mask previously, where it's like that reluctant sigh where, like, I'm brand new. Literally, you brought me into this business. You're the reason I'm getting a paycheck, so kind of have to listen to you, Conan.
Yeah.
And we also get an intro package for, referenced last week, Mil Muertes.
Ooh.
It's this shot of a closed area personnel only sign, and then there's some candles lying around, and it feels like it was the location shots for a Saw movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like very low lighting, just a lot of like quick jumps to random areas of what we believe is the temple, but the temple is essentially a warehouse.
Yeah.
And then we have a hot lady voice telling us one thing is certain, 1,000 deaths is coming. And then there's a jump scare. Blah! Mill's here and he's wearing... Okay, so Mill's cape. That might be one of... Do you remember, Mills, the cape he's wearing?
Yeah, I thought it was cool, wasn't it?
This might be one of my favorite capes, bar none.
Yeah.
Wrestling, superheroes, sexy daddy vampire types. It's purple with like a peacock feather crown on the top, like around the neck. It's so nice. It is such a cool cape.
The coolest cape is Spawn, and I think, did Mange have one?
I don't think I know Mange.
From Powerpuff Girls?
Oh, wait.
It was that episode where they were trying to be legitimate superheroes, the Powerpuff Girls. You have Liberty Bell, Something Bunny, and Mange. And Buttercup was Mange.
Mange, which was Spawn.
Yeah.
So
that's why I said
your two answers are the Spawn cape.
Yes.
That's fair, but the Spawn cape has like special abilities. Like if you had to wear just like a cape like no abilities. It's just a cape. That's a good cape. But yeah, so we see Mil Muertes, and we have our second match of the evening, the tag match.
Let me first say the story in the first one.
Oh yeah, sorry.
From our good guys' perspective, they are saying we are professionals, we win, we entertain, and that's why you pay us. So please pay us. Like that's what I was getting, because they're clearly like doing this to the owner. They're like, fuck you. Like we're going to show you that money should have gone to us. Whereas the Boston gang, they're saying we have no respect. We will win for dirty money that we probably won't get paid, even though I guess we found out they did. I have a big feeling like when you're working with dirty money in these cases, this man clearly is okay with not paying people who deserve money. You shouldn't be with them.
Well, we do. It doesn't get brought up as much, but the reason Cueto doesn't want to pay Mundo is because he accused Mundo of just wanting the money, not having respect for lucha culture, which is interesting because obviously like it's weird. Cortez, Castro, and even Big Rick. It's easy to on the surface see that and be like, what is the lucha culture here? This is quote, and they bring it up. This story with them a lot is prison shower style, baby. But that's such a testament to the style of Rudos. Of you can be a technical, you win through your technical expertise, or you take the shortcuts and you win by any means necessary. So in that sense, they have more. I don't want to say it's because Mundo is WWE, where I mean Puma's not actually a AAA either. He's in the Indies at this point. But I think I feel like that might be part of the story too. I don't know, where it's like where like you came from the world of sports entertainment, Johnny Mundo. We don't trust. I Dario Cueto do not trust you yet. I'm not here for sports entertainment. I'm here for lucha libre. I'm not sure if that is there, but it's something I know I kind of picked up on a little bit. Might be worth considering.
This is making it feel very, very, very Tekken.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You might have meant that as a negative, but
no.
The Tekken convoluted story. Okay, great. That man everybody throws each other off volcanoes and they're all related. Yep. I love Tekken's story so much.
I used to think I was that of Jin. Maybe I had a devil wings growing out of my back because I have shoulder pain since I was a child, like shoulder blade pains.
That's the best reason I've ever heard. I need to see that as your next album cover art.
All right. Have Nicole draw it up.
The back cover is just you holding your shoulders, going, rubbing some Bengay on it.
Oh, so I don't have the devil wings.
No, the front you do, but then the back you don't. The wings have fallen off and you're just rubbing Bengay on.
Oh, okay. I as a child, I was like, well, maybe I'm growing these wings, but like in a puberty sense, they haven't like pushed through my skin yet.
Yeah. That's X-Men style, baby.
I didn't have the X-Men frame of reference. I had the Tekken frame of reference.
Which we might. Oh man, Tekken has such a good story. We can't talk about Tekken. We need to keep going. We'll have a separate Tekken podcast later in life. Yes.
Like Tekken has the same convoluted storylines as Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal, also Mortal Kombat, when it's like, oh yeah, it's just these fighters or arena shooters. Then once you start shoehorning in story, it's like, well, I don't know. I guess this is what they do. And you're like, that's what you decided on? What the hell?
It never feels toy-like, I guess. It always feels like it's, I guess, from the craziest person in your favorite parking lot. Like, it is so deliciously convoluted.
If you guys want a good maybe 20 minutes, go on YouTube and just search Twisted Metal 2 ending prizes, like ending cuts, and it will show you each person. They are fucking wild.
Yeah, and maybe you're like, because by 2, certainly by 3, it's a little cartoonish. You want something a little more dark, wild. Twisted Metal Black, to this day, all those cutscenes are insane.
Yeah.
We have a tag match. Yeah. And it's a very interesting tag match featuring Son of Havoc and Evilise versus Chavo and Sexy Star.
Sexy.
Before the match even begins, James, the burial of Chavo Guerrero continues. You remember, the only man of the family nobody likes, according to Vampiro. Mad Striker sort of sets him up, and Chavo, he's coming here to Lucha Underground. He's coming back to his roots. Like, he's honoring the legacy of his uncle Eddie and his family. What a swell guy. Mad Striker brings up the respect this family has. Vampiro, you know it all too well. And then Vampiro comes in. Yeah, unfortunately, I do. I mean that in a good way. Vampiro, what has Chavo done to you and yours? You unfortunately know of his respect.
I didn't take it as bad. I took it as like, oh yeah, I know because I've been on like the wrong end of their boot. Like, that's how I took it.
That makes sense. To me, I took it as, yeah, unfortunately I do. This Chavo kid doesn't deserve any of it.
No.
He's making a mockery of this business. I shat in his bag every week at WCW. And I'll do it again. If my anus wasn't so damn prolapsed right now, I'd be shitting in Chavo's bag as I do commentary. I hate this kid. That was my take on Vampiro.
Man, I can't wait till we watch that Vampiro movie.
I'm very excited. I hope he shits on Chavo during the movie. I hope at one point he punches a vampire in the face. He turns around and he's just like, Chavo, you fucking bitch. And then he just goes right back into it.
I think he's in like Sting-like makeup. It's baffling. There's a scene where a girl caresses his face and she's like, I bet all the other women who are watching the match wish they were in this changing room with you. And he goes, I think all of it's poorly. Now, I don't know if it was filmed in Spanish then dubbed in English, or they did not have a proper mic on set, so they had to overdub everything. Or they're like, oh, we're filming next to a construction site. We can't film any other time. Let's just dub it all.
I like to think it had to be dubbed because after, in between every other line, it was just fucking Chavo. He's not in the scene. He's not in the scene, Vamp. He might as well be. I know he's here somewhere. He's just super paranoid that Chavo is everywhere because he fucking hates this kid.
Or there's just rumblies in his tummy because he's holding in shit. So he can unleash it in his bag.
Which is also what he calls Chavo. I call my shits Chavo because I fucking hate him. There's a tag match here too.
Here's a story of what I think it is. It's not making women look weak. Because you have to fight dirty in order to beat Sexy Starlet. What's her Sexy Star?
Sexy Star, yes.
And then and to get an upper hand, and plus in any other scenario, it's the man had to take that, had to bring this man to the point to be able to tag out. No, that's not the case. A legend is putting this woman over in this co-ed match. I forget exactly what they call them, but I thought this was very well done.
It's interesting. So this is, and I don't love the phrase. I know a lot of the wrestling community on Twitter, not the internet wrestling community, wrestlers on Twitter they're kind of bucking the phrase intergendered wrestling, which is men fighting women, women fighting men. They classify this as an intergendered match, as opposed to what we see in WWE and even in AEW. think the argument is a lot of TV companies only will allow mixed tag matches, which is the men. The tag team is a man and a woman, but the men fight the men, the women fight the women. So if the man tags out the woman, the other team's woman is immediately tagged in as considered. Like you don't have to both hit tags. You're considered in.
That's so weird.
It's weird, especially because it's wrestling. The idea of intergendered wrestling is actually the idea is why are we still labeling it as intergendered wrestling? It's literally just wrestling.
Yeah.
We are a series of characters. If you don't know who Abaddon is, they are a zombie. They are of the undead, dark, necromantic, evil powers. You telling me Hulk Hogan can fight a necromancer? I've seen his psychology. It's bumkiss. It truly doesn't matter. These are characters. These are stories you're telling. Assuming they can work, whatever their characters, they're making it work. The crowd is on their side. You can make whatever you want be believable.
Yeah.
That's you are crafting your story. So it actually is kind of progressive. It's, they call it intergendered a lot. They put it over in some interesting ways. Vampiro has this sentence where he's kind of breaking it, both. He's talking about Ivelisse and Sexy Star, and he's like, both have an opportunity to prove it's not just a man's world. She's a hottie, brother.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Wait, hold on, Vampiro. You're just going down both sides of a one-way street. It's impressive how ridiculous, how fast his brain can move like that.
Also, if anyone's like, well, James and Sean, didn't you say she's sexy and whatnot? Please, if you have not listened to the first episode, I think we put Johnny Mundo on this god pedestal of just an Adonis for maybe
Sexy
5 minutes.
Star is sexy, and it's fun. Everyone here is usually pretty sexy. Wrestling, I think my favorite, we were talking about our friend Shelby earlier. Shelby's starting to get into wrestling. And I think it was her realization where she's like, this is all just is consensual violence. It is so fucking sexy. Wrestling is so sex. It's as an art form, it is consensual violence. It is the most there is so much tension in that feeling of, especially when you have two good guys staring at each other going, yeah, I want to punch you in the face so bad. It's going to make me feel fulfilled and complete and satisfied if you punch me in the face right now. It's sex. It's so very, I don't know. So obviously you can go too far. Look at Twitter. But with respectful tones, Johnny Mundo, Sexy Star, right now both of these human beings can absolutely get it.
Well, I'm more of the other woman in this match.
Ivelisse is amazing. Ivelisse can easily get it. I love everyone in this match. M-Dog 20. You go back see some of his old backyard stuff. What he was able to do it as a youth, as an untrained or lightly trained youth. Oh, M-Dog 20, Son of Havoc, get it.
I was
everyone
I don't
Chavo.
know who. I was I don't know who M-Dog 20 is, but please, I apologize. I'm ruining this recurring bit I know you're about to do.
Chavo is the one person on the entire bill. I would fuck the ashes of Big Rick's cigar before I let Chavo's shitty little gooch anywhere near my mouth. You tapped out to Blue Demon Jr. Vampiro would never tap out to Blue Demon Jr. How dare you, Chavo, you shitty little butthole. I hate him. I'm sorry.
Chavo's the only Guerrero in that family who couldn't even get a handy after a match.
Easily. But yeah, everyone's very sexy. This is a fun match. I like this match a lot. I'm excited to see Ivelisse, because I'm familiar with Ivelisse a little bit later in life, and she's great.
I don't really like Sexy Star now, or what we're currently watching, but man, she's doing really great stuff these days.
Yeah, Sexy Star. We mentioned already how Sexy Star. When we mentioned Sexy Star, we mentioned the character, I think.
Yeah.
Because she becomes a major force, and it sucks because also the character has a great message, is very role modeling in a very fun superhero kind of way.
Going woke, get out of here.
I love that the first thing Chavo does is rip the beard of Son of Havoc.
Yeah.
And then he plays with his fingers. They're all greasy now. Remember, Chavo except unless you're Vampiro, is a well-respected, beloved member of this roster. As long as you're not Vampiro, we love Chavo. So he's doing like these little dirty moves to sort of get one over on Havoc.
Also, like, unless you're Vampiro or the groupies after a show with eager hands.
Who would never touch Chavo's shitty little peener. Never. Evilise gets some great offense in, and Chavo sells for her, which of course, getting kicked in the face sucks regardless of your gender. Nobody wants to get kicked in the face. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm just looking at the notes. The Heat, the tag. There was an interesting pinfall where Evilise is going for a pin. Chavo breaks it up by distracting the ref.
Yeah.
And so she just starts choking Sexy Star, which again pays off, I think, at the end of the show. But it's very normally like, the hero wrestler comes in and hits the wrestler, and distracting the ref is for bad guys. But so is beard pulls. Chavo, what are you trying to tell us with your shitty little dick?
I thought you were going to say starts choking her. So again, Shelby's right. This is sexy.
Wrestling sexy as hell. If you're like I'm still a sexual being, but like I don't know what this sentence is going for. I lost the train of thought. I'm a sexual being, but I ain't trying to fuck right now. Wrestling might be for you. I don't know what that sentence is going for.
I don't either.
I'm going through some stuff.
I don't know if I want to edit that. I
don't know either. Close of the match, Chavo frog splashes, tags in Sexy Star for the wheelbarrow roll up. 1, 2, 3.
Hell yeah.
This was a fun match. Good to see Sexy Star back. Great to see Evilise and like better women's wrestling than certain television products right now. We're not going to get into it. Tony, do better. Cut to the back. Blue Demon Jr. glistening and sweating alone in a locker room. These are my favorite shots. We get this sort of Evil Dead, the end of Evil Dead shot where we run up to the back of Blue Demon Jr. We see a sexy lady finger tap him on the shoulder. He turns around. It's a ghost. James, there's nobody there. They ain't no finger. They ain't no lady attached to the finger. They ain't no finger even. And then he turns around. Katarina, an associate of Mil Muertes, is in his face with a message from Mil. She licks this man in the face.
And that's it.
A taste of the thousand death. Damon wipes his face in defiance. But remember, that's a message from Mil. So Mil Muertes saw Blue Demon Jr. It's like that the legend, the first Mexican NWA world champion, Blue Demon Jr. I gotta lick that man's face, but good.
No, I think what probably happened is later that night, Katarina and Mil, they come into an HR like, hey, the Blue Demon Jr. said that Mil, you had, if you would have licked his face, that would have been like still iffy, but you had like your female coworker do that. And then Mil's like, whoa. You licked his face? What the fuck? No.
Wide-eyed, shifty eyes going, that seems, I gotta go. And then she does a Scooby-Doo, like run in the air out of the room.
No, she just like taps herself on the shoulder, then disappears.
That's the move. It feels cool. It feels very like, again, very, I liked it. It felt very mysterious, very wild, and very, I think I've said before, I'm a Superman guy. Sometimes I like just a good guy trying his good darndest to be the good guy. So Mil Muertes to kind of like wipe that face in defiance, going like, hey, I like fucking as much as the next guy, but right now I got some evil to fight. I thought that was very cool.
Before we get into the last match, one of my only criticism for this episode, and it just would help the story, is they need to mic the ring a little bit, and that will come in later for this next match. That's
fair. There's a second Puma hype package, really strapping the rocket to Puma, which makes sense. The guy, I mean, you have Conan speaking for him. Conan is a great talker. People are very excited to hear Conan talk. And one of the best, probably the best ring worker, at least right now on the roster from what we've seen. Even compared to Mundo, this dude's, I mean, he's still young too. So he's not like he's, Ooh, if you have not gone back and watched Baby Ricochet or Prince Puma, ooh. But yeah, it's another hype package. Conan rolls a nat 20 on a history check, so he knows. So from looking at him and hearing his last name, he knows Puma's a direct descendant of the fiercest renegade tribe of the Aztecs. They found him in a back alley, James. One of the worst barrios in the country, James. Fighting for his life, James. A reminder, Ricochet started in a suburb of Illinois. Spent most of his time in Philadelphia. I think this is his first major long stay in Los Angeles.
He did
Anyway,
it, guys.
Puma boxes a bag off the chain. And I will say, after the second one, they're pushing it down on us a lot. I do want to save the sweet young street rat because I don't buy that. I love him. Like, they're pushing him a lot, but it works for me. If the idea is like, this is a guy he's working his damnedest from nothing. Don't you want to save this sweet young boy? I'm like, I want to save this sweet young boy. I'm excited for Puma.
Yeah, same. I like his wrestling style. He seems cool. I'm excited. I truly am excited to keep watching this show.
The question, I guess, then, these two because out of all the screen time, 2 segments spent on Prince Puma, do they get you more excited? Do you want Prince Puma to win more after seeing those 2 promos?
Yes, but also I want to see more of him. So regardless, as long as he's putting on a good match, I'm cool with it. But Sean, I think we got to get into this last match.
Yes, we do. Blue Demon Jr. versus the debuting Mil Muertes. As Mil Muertes, with Katarina by his side, come down to the ring. Matt Striker has the line, Katarina seems to fill our screen with some type of dark seduction, which is weird and sexy at the same time. I like that phrasing. Like, it sounds very much like, I don't think this dude's ever had sex, but like he describes it real good. Yeah, Mil takes a knee. He sniffs a hanky. Before the match. He takes the knee, sniffs a hanky given by Katarina, and then the stare down begins. James, what do you think is in that hanky? I couldn't even, it's gotta be boogies, right?
No, it's just her.
Oh, her boogies.
No, the scent of a lady.
All right, the scent of a lady's boogies. I like this. Mil Muertes, James has a cat. How are they doing?
It's both Butter and Socks. They're on the same chair. They're settling in, but I heard one of them hissed at the other. And it's like, just fucking go to sleep, guys. Get CM Punk in here.
Yeah, put him to sleep, baby.
But not in that way.
And Mil Muertes, by the way, is he's not a well-known figure. This is his debut. He's been wrestling since like the mid-90s, not under the Mil Muertes mask. Sort of like a real, like kind of a journeyman, but never really, like, this is his biggest push, especially on television. And it's interesting to see, and he's an older guy too. Like, I think today he's 50, so he'd be like 40, early 40s when they were filming this, probably mid 40s.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see this style. I liked this match a lot more than the Chavo match, actually.
Yeah, I thought there wasn't like huge spots, but it told a good story of truly setting this man up to be not a man, a larger than life villain that you need to be afraid of.
Yeah, and Damon working around him with the thing we talked about before, a Technico using their technique. Mil Muertes is stronger. He's got more dark magic behind him. But Blue Demon Jr. is a well-regarded veteran. He knows the trips and the tricks and the holds. Like every time he starts getting back on Mil Muertes, it's not a punch, it's not a kick. It's usually some sort of arm drag or takedown or like some sort of wrestling trickery. There's this one move that I had to rewind it several times because I thought I missed it. Blue Demon Jr. is in the corner. Mil Muertes from the other side of the ring is charging at Blue Demon Jr. He rolls, Damon on his feet, kind of rolls out of the way, but leaves a foot behind. And I had to keep rewinding, why does he? Because it was so clearly he actively meant to sort of put his foot up. And I think it's so that when Mil Muertes ran into the corner, he also ran dick first into Blue Demon Jr.'s boot. He didn't kick him in the balls. He just left his foot there so that Mil Muertes could kick himself in the balls.
Okay, yeah. See, that's respecting the other person, but not fighting dirty.
It's walking that line, and tells the story of the grizzled vet who knows all these tricks. How do you kick someone in the balls without kicking them in the balls? Mm-hmm. The great philosophical query of our age.
How do I not get DQ'd?
Mm-hmm.
But give me a blizzard.
I just thought that was so cool. There's also it's like it was Damo not doing these spots. Like I think that might have been part of it. Maybe he felt like he had to keep up with Chavo.
Ooh, Chavo.
In last week when he really didn't. There's Damon powders to the outside at one point, and Mill grabs his shoulder, turn around to like kind of lay in chops. He has the coolest fucking shoulder turn I've ever. Blue Damon Jr. just looks over his shoulder like, "Excuse me," and I'm like, it was cool guy not looking at explosions kind of style of taking a chop, which is like that's it's a very basic spot, Like if you're not sure about working with someone, you can take their chops. It hurts, but it's not it's not very technical. There's not a lot of ways, so it's easy to do that very by rote. But like that little extra blow Damon Jr. at being 100% you 100% of the time in the match, making those little moments in between feel special. It was just it's hard to really break down how cool turning around is. But if you've ever seen Inspector Gadget and you always want to see it, it's sometimes you turn around very cool. I don't know.
Howard Kramer has a song about there was a country music awards where Taylor Swift was on, and she like turns around and looks at the camera as it like a crane shot or what the ones that are on ropes goes over her, and she turns around, and he's like, Taylor Swift took my manhood and then made a song all about that glance and that turnaround.
It is not talked about enough, but a good turnaround, that can be magical. If you know how to turn around effectively, you can render your opponent speechless. I hear that's what happened to Katy Perry. Taylor Swift turned around on her one time and she's like, gasp. All of my classic luchador technique cannot stand up to this.
Yeah.
Katy Perry, known luchador.
But then, man, who wins?
Katarina distracts Mill. Mill hits a not great spear, but with a decent flatliner for the 3. And Mill overpowers through all the technique and all the tricks and all of the trade that Damon has at his disposal. Mill's too much. Overpowers, overwhelms. And then Mil Muertes keeps beating the shit out of him because he's a big fucking evil guy. Nobody can control Mil Muertes. They can just kind of point him in a direction and he's gonna go. So Mil attacks after the match, goes for this, they call it a stone on commentary, the hanky. So I don't, like, it's weird because they didn't put it over like when they first brought it out, this prop of the hanky. Goes for that when Chavo hits the ring with a chair to sort of chase him off. Did you hear that? Did they say stone? That's what I heard at least.
Yeah, or a rock.
Yeah, that's interesting that we don't see the rock at all. Again, we just see like a red hanky. That's the prop.
But it was hidden in there.
Yeah, I mean, could have done a better job of explaining it when it came out the first time.
Like, oh my, that must have been what was in the hanky.
Yeah, because
it's a rock hanky, a hanky rock.
Or just setting up like he's smelling the stone. That is a stone of, because like it's very easy to lose that when he brings it back, and I'm excited to see what it is.
Yeah,
like they're building my expectations. But we don't see this week as Chavo hits the ring to save Mil Muertes. And that's the end of the show. Chavo, what a great guy with the steel chair. Oh, wait, hold on. I have more notes. Oh no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Vampiro was right.
Vampiro was right, Chavo. You piece of garbage dog shit. How dare you? You walk into the locker room, everyone's like, I fucking hate this guy. We're going to have a shit party on your bag, you dog. Oh, Chavo.
He starts taking the chair to everyone, referees included.
But especially Blow Damon Jr. Takes the chair to Damon. He knocks out 2 referees. He goes back to Damon. 2 undercard guys who we have not seen yet. They try to make this save. Both get taken out by the chair. Goes back to Damon. Eventually the EMTs do arrive. They hook him up to the stretcher. And Chavo sits in the chair admiring his handiwork. I like that. I like that. It's a little cool. It's just a very cool, like, yeah, man, I'm fucking taking it easy, baby. I beat the shit out of you.
And then it does end with, like, after the EMTs put him on the stretcher, then Chavo goes up and just starts beating the shit out of him on the stretcher. And that's when I was like, okay, this is going a little too far. We don't need him to go, like, to have this much heat. I think that starts going into bad heat.
I disagree.
All right.
Because, like, I disagree. Because it's one of those things where you can go, it's adding 100%. Assuming everyone agrees to it, Damon's, like, aware of, like, that's going to happen.
I think it's just this, like, it went on too long. Like, if it had been a little snappier, they got him on quicker, then he started beating the shit out of him. I don't know. I felt like it went from being like, oh, this is wrestling to like, oh, this is now kind of in poor taste. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's some. I don't know. To me, maybe I've been in this game too long because I want some of the poor taste. You can. Okay. So to me, poor taste is only poor taste if it's actively hurting someone.
Of course, yeah.
Or if it was nothing but tied to the stretcher beatdowns, where like it's like I don't know like that's to me that's the memorable part. Is like it's not like if he just hit him with a chair and hit everyone else, I would forget this segment a little more quickly than like the visual that's gonna stick with me is Chavo under the ropes pushing off the EMT so he could get a few more punches in on Blue Demon.
What I would have loved is he like jumps out of the ring and like points at the commentator table and he's like, whoa, and then Vampiro and them like they get up and then you think he's gonna punch Vampiro, but he like goes underneath the desk, pulls out a bag and Vampiro's like, hey, that's mine, and then he just pulls his pants down and shits in Vampiro's bag. You didn't think I was going there, did you?
No, that is the correct timeline, though. Yes, you have won wrestling. Congratulations.
Yeah, guys, let us know. What did you think of that end match, baby? Yeah. Over on, I guess, at Marshland Media on Twitter.
And if you think we're a punto, which, real quick, as we're closing up, we talked about like this episode really getting the chance in. Crowd's red hot. Mm-hmm. And like, I love that they put in... Because that's not an American. You don't go to American shows very often, like WWE shows, and you hear the punto chant. The punto. Like that's Arena de Mexico, baby. And I love that was in this episode during that Chavo beatdown. But if you think we're a punto, let us know in a 5-star review.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, don't talk to us on Twitter.
Never.
If you're on iTunes or Spotify, give us a 5-star review, baby.
Yeah, and then say mean things like, yo, these two Chavos over here, I fucking hate them. Unfortunately, I know them. 5 stars.
Where can I wish they, on Redbubble, you could get that cool Natty Ice with Otter on a backpack so I could shit in it and send it to their P.O. box, which the address is in our description.
Yeah, baby. And also in our description, I didn't have a clean transition. James, tell them about that Patreon.
You could have gone to your plugs, and hey, in that description
I decided to skip my plugs this week.
Hey guys,
just VK at Twitch.
Go to patreon.com/MLM pod, where for $5 a month you get exclusive content. Ooh, baby, they're podcasts every single Friday. They're very good. But if you're a $10 patron, you get more exclusive content like that straight to Patreon, where at the end of September we will be discussing Vampiro, Warrior of the Night. I believe that's the name of it. But you also get a shout out on every single free feed podcast. Like if you're a rapper or you're a wrestler, holy shit, if you're a wrestler and you want your wrestling name shouted out, as long as it's not just like F-slur, no homo, I'd be like, excuse me? Or like if you're in like the queer wrestling, I can't say that, but like, yeah, that's your name. That I'm not going to dog you for it, but don't have me say it, as no matter how funny you think that would be. Please don't make me do
James,
that.
What's happening? You have
starting with Steve F, Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour, Alex Z, The Waz, Orion, he's a rapper, Defo, D-F-O. See, like that, it's just Defo, that's fine. Kayla, aka Two Grapes, that's fine. Jordan B, the Chaos Witch, again, fine. Joshua,
Okay.
my brother in common law. Steve Barnes, he's a musician. Intro Void, find him. Again, that's fine. My mother, she doesn't have a nickname. And finally, Lil Corey's BFF and roommate, Shane.
Nice. I've been Sean.
And I've been James.
And this has been Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling, baby. Prison shower style.
Yeah.
You did not like that close.
No, I'm fine
I
with
can
it.
see it in your eyes.
I can see it in your eyes. Bye.
Bye.
Oh,